All right, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachah Kudash. I also want to give double honors to our elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings, health and wellness to the house of David the elect. I was a high spirit way in Judah. And today I want to go into a topic entitled Fear and Shame is Healthy for a Nation. Fear and shame is healthy for a nation. And this came by way of an article particular brother put up, and I was looking on a comment board, all right, and it was basically saying shame is good, like shame was healthy for our nation, all right, and it was going into a different topic, but basically a brother put on the comment board, like shame is a good thing. The brother said we need to bring shame back. Yeah, we need to bring shame back, and in our homeland, Jerusalem, all right, the Most High had a system to help control our people, all right, through shame. One of those things, one of those methods was shame, all right. In any traditional culture, all right, you govern the people, and one of the ways you govern them is with shame. So I'm going to get the definition for the word shame, then I'm going to get further into the lesson. This is Google shame definition. It says a painful feeling of humiliation or distress caused by the consciousness of wrong or foolish behavior. So you have laws, then you have consequences for breaking the laws. All right. You have laws, and then you have, once again, the consequence for breaking them. And then within that, you have something that comes with breaking them, shame. All right. Shame. All right. But also, along with shame, the way you rule your people is another way is fear. So you have shame, you have fear. And today that's looked at as a bad thing, but actually shame and fear is healthy. So let me get into this particular article that I looked up in the Wikipedia when I looked up the word shame. First, I looked up the word shame, and it took me to guilt, shame, fear spectrum of cultures. And this is interesting because I know this is how our laws are enforced. Okay, it says Wikipedia guilt, shame, fear spectrum of cultures, and I'm just going to get to the particular points, man. Just hit the points real quick. They have three different classifications of the guilt shame spectrum. It's the guilt, shame, and fear, and I'm just going to go into shame and fear. All right, it says in a shame society, which our nation was a shame society, and we're going to get into it. In a shame society, the means of control is the inculcation of shame. Salak. I read that again. In a shame society, the means of control is the inculcation of shame. All right, inculcate. This is a word that Elder Apostle Kabar will get into. All right, and it's basically repetition. All right, you train people through repetition. All right, it says in a shame society, the means of control is the inculcation of shame and the complementary threat of ostracism. All right, exile. Okay, the shame honor worldview seeks an honor balance and can lead to revenge and dynamics. And can lead to revenge dynamics. Salak. A person in this type of culture may ask, shall I look ashamed if I do X? Or how will people look at me if I do Y? See? And so in this society in America, you're taught not to be self-conscious, to express yourself. Like women can dress scantily and they're justified through expression. All right. But in a shame society, which is, what our homeland Jerusalem was, there would be a shame to reveal yourself. There would be dishonor, all right, to your parents to be live carelessly in a society. All right. It goes on to say, shame cultures are typically based on the concepts of pride and honor, and appearances are what count. See, in our homeland Jerusalem, we had systems, all right, on the other end of the spectrum of shame, all right, we had systems of honor, all right. You bring honor to your family, you have honor to yourself. Your name was very important, your reputation was very important, okay. And then it goes on to say, well, you know what? Before I get to fear, I'm going to go into the scriptures, all right, dealing with shame. All right. I looked up the word shame, and it showed up 269 times where there was the word shamed or ashamed, but it came up 269 times in the Old and New Testament. Okay. Showing that we lived in a shame society. All right. And that's healthy for the upkeep of a nation, for the minds of the people within a nation. Shame is healthy and is needed. Okay. But I'm gonna go ahead and get a scripture that popped in my mind when I thought about the word shame. It's this is Sirach. Let me see. I get a couple of scriptures. All right, Sirach 26. All right, Sirach 26:10. If thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly, lest she abuse herself through overmuch liberty. All right, but it says if thy daughter be shameless, meaning she has no concern for her promiscuity. She has no concern for the honor of the name of her father. All right, she's basically today it would be a liberal. She's a liberal. She's a feminist. She's a libertine. All right, but that would bring shame in a traditional society such as our homeland. All right, if thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly, lest she abuse herself through overmuch liberty. All right. And it says, and the opposite of shame is shamefaced. And that's what you want, brothers. All right, which we're going to get that in the kingdom. But women in a traditional, in our ancient world society, all right, the average woman had a shame face. Like she walked past you, she wouldn't really look you in the eye. She had her head down. All right. She was in her feminine frame. Okay. But let me get that point, the scripture that came to my mind, the actual scripture that came to my mind when it came to shame is Sirach 26:25. A shameless woman should be counted as a dog. So yeah, if you're in public twerking or you have naked, you're shameless. Really, you on the caliber of a fucking dog, man. All right? And women actually talk like that. They be like, I'm in heat. They be like, yeah, I'm in heat. Now openly say they want some dick, man. A lot of them do shit like that, man. They put it out there, man. All right? That's a fucking shame. All right? That's a fucking shame, man. All right? Like I said, applying shame in your society is healthy because it's not about you a control freak. This is how you maintain the upkeep of your nation. All right? A shameless woman should be counted as a dog, but she that is shamefaced it will fear Yahweh. All right? Our women are not shamefaced it. Hey, therefore they don't fear Yahweh. Okay? And they show it in their actions. All right, Jake sagging, showing his ass. Hey, he's shameless, you know. But our people are ultimately they're like as a nation, they're like a shameless fucking whore, right? Because they openly commit adultery against Yahweh Bashmal Shai and they're proud about it. Okay, through rebellion. All right, something called rebellion. All right, under the guise of being free. All right. Let me get back to the article because I first went into shame. Now I'm going to go into fear. All right, because we also have a fear society. In a fear society, control is kept by the fear of retribution. The fear worldview focuses on physical dominance. A person in this culture may ask, will someone hurt me if I do this? All right, but that someone is Yahweh Bashmal Shai. And in the ancient world, you breaking the laws, all right, that payback or retribution would be you getting fucking stoned to death. All right? Or you could have just got 39 lashes. But that created fear. But that fear created obedience. That shame created obedience. All right? In a fierce society, control is kept by the fear of retribution. All right? The fear worldview focuses on physical dominance. A person in this culture may ask, will someone hurt me if I do this? And jumping back up to the paragraph on shame, it says a person in this type of culture may ask, shall I look ashamed if I do X? Or how will people look at me if I do Y? Shame cultures are typically based on concept of pride and honor, and appearances are what count. All right, so we have to go back to that. That's why modesty is important. That's why your family's name is important. All right, but the Most High put that spirit in our nation to keep a level of obedience. In economy, they have something called the carrot and the stick. All right. The carrot is what you reward your people when they do right by you. All right. They do right by the laws. But the stick is the disciplinary action. And an aspect of that stick when it comes to ruling your people, all right, is shame and fear. All right. Let me get that right quick. Let me see what else they got. Shame, culture, guilt, society. Well, China, Japan, Romani. Those are shame cultures. All right, it says guilt societies. China, Japan, same thing. All right, but look at the level of discipline the average citizen has in those different countries versus these filthy Americans, man. And Americans are filthy. All right, but let me look up the word fear right quick and see how many times it shows up in the scriptures. All right. Fear shows up. Let me get this box out the way. Salat. Fear shows up 680 times in the scriptures. The word fear shows up 680 times, showing you that our society in our homeland was a fear society. Our society also in our homeland was a shame society. All right. Because there was an element of shame in our society which kept people ultimately in order. And there was a level of fear in our society that definitely kept our people in order. And one of those things was being ostracized, all right, or being or stoned or hit with the lash. Those things created fear, all right? Having a poor reputation, those things created fear, but ultimately that engendered obedience. And if you look at our people, in America and worldwide, they're under this Western trance, which has them walking around shameless and fearless, as though they can't be touched. And like the elder brother brought out a video, all right. The brother did the lesson and he went into hubris, all right, which is basically unjustifiable, unreasonable pride. And our women are prideful whores, and Jake is a prideful monster. He's a prideful demon. All right. But they lack that element of fear and shame. All right, which brings obedience, man. And ultimately, obedience brings us back to being in a position of power on the planet Earth. So right now, we're a bunch of prideful fucking losers, man. All right. But with that, I hope you brothers and sisters are edified. To the next time. Shalom.